but you need to devote little time. Sadhana you have to do. Without practice you won't get it. So we'll sing a song. This you can play, Bharata. Bhajahu re mana Srinanda Nandana Abhaya Charanaravinda re Abhaya Charanaravinda re Dulabha Manava Janama Satsange Taro ye bhava sindure Taro ye bhava sindure Shita atapa bhata varishana Yedina jamini jagire Shita atapa bhata varishana विफले सेवेनो कृपण दुर्जन चपल सुकल बलागी रे The next line. Yedana yovana putra parijana Yedin ite ki ate parate tire Yedana yovana putra parijana Ite ki ate parate tire Kamala dala jala jivana talamala Bharahu hari pada niti re Abhaya charanaravindare Abhaya charanaravinda Savana kirtana smarana vandana Pada sevana dasya re Savana kirtana smarana vandana Pada sevana dasya re Pujana sakhi jana atmani vedana Govinda dasa bhilash re Pujana sakhi jana atmani vedana Govinda dasa bhilash re Bhajahu re mana Srinanda Nandana Abhaya Charanaravinda re Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Nittai Gauranga Jaya Nittai Gauranga Jaya Nittai Gauranga Radha Madan Mohan Radha Madan Mohan, Radha Madan Mohan, Shri Radhe. Radha Madan Mohan. Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Subhadra. Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada. Gurudev, 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 Srila Gurudev. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Kaliuga Pavana Harinama Sankirtana ki. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. See, this is a 3-part series, this topic, but I am only speaking in one part, just in 1 hour only. So, what I would suggest all of you, when I am speaking, you can make notes in bullet points. Now, what is the bullet point notes? Just take a hint of the examples which I quote. Later on, you think about it more sometime in the daytime about how it affects our chanting. And because this is about, the topic is what? Art of keeping our mind aloof from material world during chanting. Which means developing the ability to be able to focus on the chanting of the holy name. That is our main theme today. Actually, if you write elaborately, then you will miss out some points. But if you write briefly, it should not be so brief that you won't be able to know what it is. So you make it like that, and then later on think about these things. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuvanmelitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamyaniti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. You all are intelligent students of engineering, so therefore it will be very easy for you to understand the knowledge aspect from the scriptures. When you study, only the difficult part is application part. The knowledge part should be very, very clear. So, first few minutes let us devote understanding of each of the components involved in our body, beginning with the senses, then the mind, then the intelligence, and ego, and the heart, which you call as chitta. Because if you understand the components that are involved in our material bodily makeup and their respective functioning, then you have a clue of what you are handling. When we as souls, jivas, we don't need these two bodies which we are carrying with us, the gross body and subtle body. We don't need it actually. The soul has inbuilt intelligence, inbuilt senses in the spiritual world, which is pure It's called as Sadindriya. Sadindriya means pure senses. But the pure senses of the soul are covered with a blanket of the subtle body, and over that one more blanket of the gross body. And these senses are called as Kadindriya. Opposite of Sadindriya is Kadindriya. Kadindriya means impure senses. They, like our eyes are watching dirty cinema posters. It's impure eyes. And the mouth is eating meat. That is impure tongue. And similarly mind also, the mind, intelligence, ego, which we have, subtle body, it's engaging in impure activities of lust, anger and greed. So that is also impure. So these impure blankets, two blankets, gross and subtle blanket, are covering the soul. But the soul in and of itself is complete. It has got a similar form like what you have now, but the form is made up of what? Sachidananda Swarupa. And some people ask, if we merge the five Panchamahabhuta to the respective elements, and if we merge the mind to the global mind, intelligence to global intelligence, ego to global ego, and when the soul comes out, then how can soul function without mind and intelligence? People ask. Actually, you don't need material mind, material intelligence. Because the soul itself has spiritual mind and spiritual intelligence and spiritual senses originally. But the problem has come upon us. What is it? For example, if I wear a red color specs now, my eyes can see clear like this, but if I wear a red color specs, everything looks? Yes. So therefore, when the impure senses cover the pure soul, then the pure soul is perceiving the world around through the impure senses and impure mind. Therefore, the problems exist for us in this world. So, now what the Shastras are saying, we should make the impure senses pure. Impure mind also pure. How? Like we say, Rishikena, Rishikesha, Sevanam, Bhakti Ruchedi. Definition of bhakti is, Rishik means senses. Rishikesh means who is Rishikesh? Master of senses. So if you serve the master of senses with your senses, then you also become Goswami. That means you make it a practice to always use all your senses in Krishna's service. Like for example, with the eyes you see the deity, don't see impure things. With the ears you hear the children sing in Pune, I use my eyes to see Krishna, see Krishna, see Krishna. I use my eyes to see Him. I use my ears to hear about Krishna. They do action also. I use my eyes to... So this is a beautiful song they sing, all the different parts of the body. So use all the limbs of your body in Krishna's service, and that's how they become purified. So now why we have to purify? Already I told you that soul already has pure senses. But the soul's pure senses and outside two coverings should become so pure. When they become pure, at that time you get liberated. You leave the gross and subtle body. You don't need them. Because in subtle body, if you have material desires, then only you need to carry the subtle body birth after birth. If the subtle bodily desires tend to become zero, then do you need subtle body anymore? Do you need any more gross body? No. Like in mechanical engineering, you will know there is a CNC machine, computer network control machine. So that machine has got a microprocessor, correct, no? There you program it. And then the servo motors move accordingly, linear and rotary movements and all. So our mind is a microprocessor. Here whatever program you have here, hands, legs move accordingly. Somebody has seen a lusty movie, then hands and legs want to do lusty activities. Somebody has seen a Sampurna Ramayanam, or like you saw a devotional movie, or Hanuman you saw. And after that is programming in the head, then again you also want to become like Hanuman. I want to do sevas. I want to do services. So depending on the program in the mind, the senses are activated by the intelligence accordingly. So therefore the senses which are currently acting impurely, we have to make them act purely, because problem with impure action is what? With the five senses, jnanendriyas, you take impure things in. Then mind is contaminated. Then it's like a ghost-haunted person, Prabhupada says. A person who has that lust, anger and greed in the mind, they are like viruses or like a ghost in our system. So a ghost-haunted person behaves crazily, isn't it? So similarly, a person, that day I was in airport, I was taking my suitcase and I was coming out. In the airport, this, what do you call it? This air hostess, I think, some of them wear the miniskirt, correct? No? Very little miniskirt they wear and a coat type of thing. They wear and walk. And one fellow was looking at the legs only. Was looking, he's a lusty rogue, isn't it? Well, from his eyes I could see his lust. Because from the senses, that's what our Bhaktivinoda Maharaj used to say. When a woman is scantily dressed, look at the people around her. Don't look at her. Look at the look at the people around. What you can understand? You can look at their eyes. You can see the lust. Correct, no? So when I saw that man, it appeared the animal within him was coming out by seeing this. Because she appears to be ready for sex, not properly dressed with very little dress in the body. His animal is coming out of him. So our senses take in impure sights like that, and then they store it in the impure mind. Then the hands and legs want to act impurely because of that in this world. And sometimes the intelligence is also polluted by the mind, so that the mind drags the intelligence to make plans for him, how he can enjoy. Intelligence also makes plans. This is how our senses are impure, putrefied, and mind is putrefied, and intelligence is putrefied. So it becomes, with all this kind of false designations enveloping the soul, how will we chant the holy name? So when we sit to chant the holy name, all this impurities trouble the living entity, lust and anger and greed. Lust I told you till now. Similarly, the greed, there are so many material aspirations and ambitions the jiva is holding due to his material identification. Correct, no? I want to become this, I want to become that, I want to prove I am this, I want to impress the world. That is greed. Similarly, the anger, we have so many situations in which we have developed hatred and anger towards some people. We want to get back on their case, we want to take revenge. So these things are stored in the mind. And these impure scripts stored in the mind take advantage of the impure intelligence to make plans by which the senses can act out. And this is how our life is going on the material plane. So, now let us see what the Shastra says, solution to each of this. The senses, they say, can be purified by engaging in Krishna service. Rishikena Rishikesha Sevana. But you will see one thing, even though you are engaging your senses in Krishna's service, it will be only very superficial. Mind will not come with the senses. Impure mind will say, you go, you do service, but I want to think of something else only. Even while any of you have experienced when you are entering service with the senses, at that time mind is refusing to think of pure sublime thoughts. Still mind can be hooked on to something material. Like you are chanting. For example, you are sitting with a bead bag and chanting, but mind goes all over the world, correct, no? It may think about your job, it can think about career, it may think about some past or future and so many things. So that means at least engage the senses in Krishna service. Even though mind, intelligence, ego, all of them may not follow you. At least, how many of you think it's easy? Correct, no? I am telling you only the senses. At least be convinced that I will engage the senses. So you get Ajnana Sukruti for this. You will get some count of Ajnana Sukruti you will get. But if you bring the other things along with the senses, you will get 1,000 count. 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, 10,000 like that. But if you are not bringing others with you, only the senses you bring, at least 1 count, 2 count, 3 count, something is going on. You go on. So this is about the senses. Then go to the mind. What is the nature of the mind? Sankalpa and Vikalpa. Accepting and rejecting. Mind goes by likes and dislikes. I like this. I don't like that. For example, I don't like to get up early in the morning. It's very cold. Or I like means, I like to sing that old movie song which I used to like in my college days, school days. So mind may have some wrong likings and it may have some dislikes which are unfavorable for Bhakti Yoga, for our spiritual life. Correct? No? So, therefore, these kinds of likes and dislikes are there in the mind. Mind goes by what feels nice. Mind doesn't think about what is pleasurable, what feels nice. But if something is not so pleasurable, but even though it is good for you, the mind doesn't like it. Like doctor gives you a bitter medicine for your stomach ache. If you take the bitter medicine, in 2-3 days, your stomach ache will be gone completely. But the mind says, I know, it's better to tolerate my stomach ache rather than eat this bitter medicine, like that the mind says. Like for example, when the beginning of the semester, you will see most boys are in no mood to study. Correct, na? They generally begin studying only when the exam approaches closer. Correct, na? 90% of people, they do like that. So, because the mind wants to just enjoy, like you will see the children in this world also, the children prefer playing, and parents want them to study. Similarly, jivas like to do sense gratification, and Krishna wants them to study Bhagavad Gita and follow. Lord says, please manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji sarvadharman paritejya mahamekam. Poor Krishna keeps telling, but the jiva say, no, we want to play sense gratification. And here and there. The naughty children cannot know that if I play all day and I don't study, I can't earn a degree. Similarly, the naughty living entities don't know if I spend my time in sense gratification, I will get more and more polluted and I will get degraded and I won't be able to return back to my home, eternal home. So, but all of you being devotees, by studying the Shastras with our intelligence, we can come to the point of understanding that the mind is like a naughty child. Intelligence is like a husband, and mind is like a wife, and senses are like children. So, like imagine, for example, in a home, if the children are very naughty, Mama, they wave their hands and cries, I want this toy, get me this chocolate, get me this, get me that. And the mother immediately comes there and sees the scene created by the children. Then she shouts at the husband, why didn't you go and get some chocolates for these naughty children? Otherwise they are making a hell out of home. Like that she says. Husband says, but doctor told not to give the chocolates to our children. No, doctor let him say whatever he wants. Doctor doesn't manage my children. I have to manage them. Somehow you give them. Like that the wife says. Immediately husband runs to shop and brings some cocoa chocolate, big bars of cocoa chocolate. What do they call it? No, the big bar, the cocoa bar. Cadbury, yeah. Big Cadbury. Already children have lost 3-4 teeth. He gives them all one big bar of Cadbury. But so in this way you find the children are pulling whom? Mother. And the mother is pulling? That's how the senses see sense gratification they want to enjoy. So they demand the mind. And the mind is demanding? Intelligence. And the intelligence makes plans for the mind and senses to fulfill their foolish demands. Like that. So then this person is called Godas. He becomes Godas. Now who is Goswami? Goswami is one when the intelligence is connected to Super Soul. Super Soul is the real supplier of intelligence. And if we can't hear the voice of Super Soul, then the same voice of Super Soul comes through the mouth of the spiritual master. He gives spiritual knowledge. Guru, he gives knowledge. So if one can study that knowledge from Shastra, but the Shastras are not easily decodable by us many times. You can't understand also. But if you hear from Guru, hear from Vaishnavas, then that hearing strengthens your intelligence. It makes intelligence very strong. And the intelligence can subdue the fickle mind and impure senses. Intelligence can subdue the fickle mind. Fickle mind means, mind is always saying, I like this, I don't like that, I want this, I don't want, things like that. It can subdue. And also mind is carrying the previous experiences. Even though your devotee may now not take any more impure inputs now, but you have already taken a lot in the previous lifetimes, as well as in this lifetime prior to the stage of coming to Krishna consciousness. So all those loaded with impure, those things are there, and they are causing a lot of trouble. For many of the youth suffer with those things. So those are in the form of kama karma bijas, seed forms in our mind. And those seeds are demanding you to give shape. Kudu 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 kudu, give us shape, kudu 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 kudu, like that the mind. So then the mind uses the senses to give shape. And that's how the mind gets into all kinds of trouble. So therefore, beginning with the senses I told you, Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam. Now what to do with the mind? With the mind, therefore you should know the constituents of the mind. Now first thing we told in the mind, what is that? Lust, anger and greed. Prabhupada says, Abhadra means these three only. Prabhupada says, other thing you don't have to worry. These three, they will develop into pride, envy and all those things. Illusion and all that. But primarily these three only. Lust, anger and greed. In that also, there is only one only. Which is the one? Lust only. First lust, unsatisfied lust becomes anger. Unsatisfied lust becomes greed. Yeah. So lust means adamant desire for the prohibited. So you will see that A person's lust becomes uncontrollable when a boy becomes completely independent-minded. He doesn't listen to the authorities. He doesn't listen to superiors' instructions to follow the four regulative principles, to stay within association, to rise early for the morning programs, to keep a regulated lifestyle, to keep away from tempting environments. These are all instructions given by superiors. Actually, these are more easy to follow than control the mind. Control, you don't know how to catch the mind and control, you don't know. For example, I tell you to switch off this fan now. You don't know where the switch is, and it's a cold season, and the fan is going very, very fast. You run around the room, you don't find the switch. So you say, don't worry, Prabhuji, I will put on a stool and catch the fan. You put on a tall stool and hold the running fan. Is that all right? Or put on all the lights and find out the switch where it is and switch off, which is more easy. Yeah, switching off the fan, isn't it? Because switching off will not damage your fingers or hand. You can once you switch off. If you switch off here, fan stops there. Correct, no? And that is called regulation. Regulation means what? Regulating your lifestyle with the superior's orders is like switching on, switching off a fan. And not doing that and trying to control the mind is like catching the fan. Directly, if somebody tries to control the mind, what is it like? Not just catching fan. Catching what fan? Moving fan. If you want to control the mind, it is like catching a moving fan. It is foolishness. If you put your hand in a moving fan, you will cut your hand. Mind cannot be controlled. Mind is wild. And the more we let the mind loose, it's like a snowball effect. It will become extremely difficult. Like for example, you are coming in a, like trekking when people do, if you kick a snowball with your leg, playfully people do that. But the snowball actually catches more snow and it becomes a smaller ball and bigger and bigger. When you are going down, after some distance, you will see the big snowball will keep coming behind you. And then it will gather mass. Boom, 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 boom. Like part will come and hit you on your back. It will hit you so hard, you will completely topple and fall. And people have died also because of that. They playfully tossed the snowball. And at that time, it was a small snowball. When they tossed it. But when they're coming down, it became huge like this. Similarly, if one does not control the senses at early phase, at a later phases, it will become almost next to impossibility to control the mind. Therefore, it is said bamboos can be bent very easily when they are green or dry. Green. After they are dry, if you bend, they will break only. Very difficult. So therefore, mind should be controlled. And the easiest way to control the mind, I told you just now. What is it? Follow the regulation prescribed by the authorities, prescribed by the superiors, Prabhupada, special master, and many seniors they are teaching. Follow the regulated life. That's like switching off the fan. So you will be surprised how the mind has become so controlled. That is because you are following a regulated lifestyle. So it's very easy. But many people are refusing to follow the sadhana card 80-80, regulated lifestyle. If one follows regulated lifestyle, mind is very, very easy to control by the regulated lifestyle. So that is one of the things regulating our life. And another thing, these kama karma bijas are all inside the mind, I told you. Kama karma bij means they are impelling us to act. They are impelling the senses to act wrongly. They are pushing us from inside. So it is said that we have to burn them with jnana, or we have to drown them in the liquid of bhakti. So bhakti gives juice. In the juice of bhakti, you have to drown them. Or if you drown a seed, what happens? It gets rotten. It cannot germinate. And if you burn away the seed, or if you fry the seed, what happens? It will not sprout. So this kama karma bij will be finished. Either of the two you have to do. Sambandha jnana. If you are feeling a strong connection with Krishna, spiritual world, and the philosophy, that sambandha jnana will burn away the kama karma bijas for a period of time. Or the bhakti bliss has to drown. But currently in the early stage, we don't feel the bhakti bliss so much. We do it very superficially. So due to which we neither get the bhakti bliss, nor do we study the books very deeply. So out of the two, some people, they are able to have the advantage of bhakti bliss because they come from good families, they have done bhakti, they have some attraction for chanting, dancing, performing devotional services. That gives them inspiration. So that then they are better at it. So all of you ask yourself, which one actually helps you to um, feel very strong connection to Krishna consciousness? Bhakti side or the jnana side? Some people may be intellectually oriented, and for them, when they find some passages, some articles, some philosophical explanations, that touches their intelligence so strong that they take the spiritual life very seriously. So let us take a vote here, those who are sitting here. So how many of you feel that the bhakti side experiences give you very strong, memorable impressions which subdue your lower passions and makes you feel better in spiritual life? Yes? We have almost, okay, 5, 6, 7, okay, many. Okay, how many of you feel that the intelligent side is more appealing to you? Yeah. We have almost same amount of number, okay. So you got an idea what I am saying. So some of you may be influenced by both also, that is even more fortunate. Bhakti, Vedanta, both. Right now, Bhakti and Vedanta, both. So you can take, both you can do. Fry some other seeds and some other seeds you drown. Finally the whole idea is what? The mind carrying this kama karma just have to be avidya kama karma bihi. Kunti Varani says, no? Bhavesmin klishyamananam avidya kama karma bihi shravana smarana arhani karishchanyati kechana. She is saying that avidya is there in the chitta, in the heart. Heart means subconscious mind. Subconscious mind. Avidya is there. Avidya means what? Ignorance of what? Ignorance of your real identity. I am not the body, I am spirit, soul. If one does not, and one doesn't have deep realization of it, then that means he is thinking, who am I? I am this body. I am fair. I am handsome. I am born in a Brahmana family. And I am very intelligent. I have cracked this exam. I am this, I am that. I all everything on a bodily, superficial platform. So this is considered ignorance. And another ignorance is ignorance about the Supreme Lord. Doubts about whether Krishna is supreme, doubts about whether God is personal or impersonal, doubts about whether God exists at all. These kind of things are ignorance about God. So ignorance about God, ignorance about soul. And another ignorance is about what I need to do to go back to spiritual world. What is the process I have to adapt? Some people are ignorant of it. They don't know what type of meditation, what type of activities I have to do. Sadhana and sadhya, one is not very clear about it. How to do the sadhana properly. So because of this lack of proper understanding of all these things, ignorance, then the ignorance remains as it is, like darkness. Like a darkness in a room, you can't take a jadu and drive it out. Isn't it? Or you can't yell at the darkness, get out! It's not going to go. There's only one way to eradicate darkness. What is it? Switch on the tube light. When you switch on the tube light, immediately the darkness is dispelled immediately. So similarly, we have to awaken Sambandha Jnana. Once the knowledge awakens, we will understand immediately what is this body? It's filthy. It's made up of flesh and bone and stool and urine, bile and all these nasty substances. Every day this body is throwing out so many impure things. I am seated in this bodily cage. I am different from this body, I am pure. And that is jnana. And then vairagya means we give up all the bad activities on the bodily platform. You develop natural detachment from those things. So then the avidya can be eradicated. But before you come to the chitta, in between there is intelligence also. Let us go one by one. In the mind, I told you, there is sankalpa, vikalpa, likes and dislikes. The mind also there is lust, anger and greed, I told you. And mind also has previous experiences. And most importantly, mind has desires. Mind has desires. So, which are called material desires, as we say. So, those material desires are only stored as material desire seeds, we call it. Correct, no? So, seed means it's a well-rounded seed. That means you have developed some certain definite desire for certain things to do in life. So, those material desires are actually it's like neem seeds. You know neem seed? If you sow a neem seed in the ground and water it, what will happen? It will grow into a neem tree and give you thousands of neem. Imagine if some king puts a rule for you. You sow this neem seed and grow it and you have to eat all the neem fruits. Coming from it. Correct, no? That is a punishment for you. You put only one seed, but that multiplies into 1,000 seeds like that. Therefore, we should not water the kama karma bij. We should not actually nourish it. Can anybody say, how do we nourish the kama karma bijas? Anybody can say? How do we nourish it? He's saying one of the ways we nourish it is by converting the desires into actions, he's saying. He's saying by contemplating, he's saying, okay. I have a more simpler answer, yes? Anybody? Through indulgence, he's saying, okay. Indulgence are giving them shape actions. Actually, we actually water them through the three gunas. Tamoguna, Rajaguna and Sattva-guna. Most importantly, Tamoguna and Rajaguna activities. Tamoguna and Rajaguna are watering the roots of the upside down tree. Lord Krishna says that in the Bhagavad Gita. So the material bodies, gross and subtle bodies, are actually made to continue birth after birth by the three gunas only. So three gunas. So we should refuse to act in Tamoguna and Rajaguna. Tamoguna means ignorance of one's identity. Rajaguna means aggressive action for aggressive sinful action. That means acting for sense gratification. That is Rajaguna. Acting for sense gratification or becoming lazy for spiritual practices. Both should be given up. So actually we should be very active in spiritual activities. Instead we become very active and passionate for sense gratification. And when it comes to spiritual activities, we apply mode of ignorance and become lazy for the spiritual activities. So these two should be given up, especially lower gunas, Tamoguna, Rajaguna. Because Tamoguna people, they glide down to hell. Rajaguna people are born again on earth and they have to slog hard. Life after life they have to slog. What do we call it? Pafa, Babama. Pavarga we call it. They get caught up in Pavarga like that. So, therefore, don't give shape to the Kama Karma Bijas through indulgence, as he said. In opposite of indulgence is tolerance. We should practice tolerance instead of indulgence. Actually, how is indulgence? Indulgence means, for example, when something very pressing and pressure-giving Maya's opportunity comes for you, it appears to you, that mind says, if you indulge in this, you will become peaceful. But after you indulge, your temptations become multiplied several times more. The demands, it's like, for example, if somebody gives you only one drop of water to drink, after drinking that, your thirst increases even more. Similarly, the nature of Maya is Dushpurena Analena cha. He says, it's like putting petrol in fire. He says, if you indulge, it's going to become more problematic for you. Krishna says that. It's going to be more demanding. So therefore, one should not indulge, but one should tolerate. But then, once you have to tolerate, then you should have some higher engagements to tolerate. Simply, you cannot just keep quiet, okay, here is Maya, I am watching Maya, but I will not indulge. You can't say that. So, actually, one is impelled to transgress the Lakshman Rekha that is put up. We transgress it if we don't have any alternative, superior, higher engagement which gives us higher pleasure. Therefore, during the time of temptation, in our spiritual life, we have so many nice activities given. We have chanting, we have dancing, we have prasadam, we have association with devotees, we have daily reading Prabhupada books in groups with devotees, and we have book distribution. We have so many activities, festival celebration, decoration, so many things. ISKCON society is such a beautiful society. Prabhupada has given hundreds of activities. So we should learn the art of diverting our mind to harmless recreations, to harmless positive spiritual activities, and engage in higher things. So that the advantage of diverting our mind to those things very nicely is it will also give us a spiritual taste. For example, if any of you go to the deity room and say, I want you to back up, washing the pots, they give you, and you are hearing Prabhupada's kirtans or lectures and they are doing it, it is spiritually purifying and very nicely engaging our mind and senses also. And also we can, and gradually the senses, more they become purified, then they will also lose taste for impure indulgence. Actually, impurity attracts impurity. For example, if there's an impure cinema poster, my senses are also impure, then they get attracted like a magnet. But if one's senses become pure, then impure things become abominable for you. For example, many of you might have experienced boys who have been eating meat before. Now they don't touch meat. Meat is impure. Amedya. Why they don't touch it now? Because they are becoming purified now. The impure things don't look attractive. No? So you give them up over a period of time. So begin with the senses, Rishikesh and Rishikesh Sevanam. Then in the mind, as I told you, drown the mind in bhakti bliss, or fry the kama karma bijas with your jnana by regular study of Prabhupada books and discussing with devotees. Here one important point I want to say, the reading should not be done ritualistically, saying that I have completed my sadhana card 80 or whatever, and that is called as niyama agraha. Agraha means you accept the rules just for the sake of finishing sadhana card, but we are not, we are not actually properly relishing the knowledge. So you should actually study with enthusiastic devotees. You can find out amongst your friends who are the friends who are super enthusiastic and they are relishing the philosophy. They are jumping after reading some statement. Hey, wow, what Prabhupada says here, you see. Such a beautiful point he made. Yesterday I heard this pastime Prabhu. That Maharaj said this devotee said that. He is like super enthusiastic. Then actually we have to associate with such people. Then you also will feel that, oh wow, look at him, he's enjoying something. I also want what he's tasting. So I also want to be with him. So connect with such people who are very enthusiastic and read with them. You will see that some of your friends are very evolved in spiritual life and they can actually bring out very good lessons from when they read Prabhupada books. How many of you observe? Correct? No? Yeah. So connect with such friends. Even if in a reading group only 2 or 3 devotees are there, you will derive a lot of bliss. Then your understanding will develop very nicely. So therefore I am telling you that bhakti bliss and frying the seeds with the sambandha jnana understanding. And this abhadra, hridayantasto hi abhadrani vidunoti surasatam. How it happens, he says, nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya. By nityam bhagavata sevaya, daily reading, not occasional reading. Reading, Prabhupada says, not only reading. Prabhupada says you should read, you should understand, you should relish, and also you should repeat. Apyatani, akhyatani, apyaditani. One should explain the philosophy to others, he says. Like right now I am explaining to you. So the more I explain to you, Krishna will give me, my super soul will be pleased with me. Yeah. Hey, he's asking recording permission. You are recording, no? Yes. Yeah. So, in this way, we have to relish what we are reading. And that relish will easily come if you associate with enthusiastic devotees while reading. And also those who can bring out very vital lessons from reading and they can give you insight. And then you will gradually develop that art yourself also by that. So in this way, and also the mind can be diverted to positive, spiritual, harmless recreations and engagements, I told you. In this way the mind can be cajoled to practice the right path, and the mind, we will not allow it to go for harmful and deadly and dangerous areas where he will hurt himself and hurt the spiritual life of the devotee, isn't it? This is about the mind. And about the intelligence, so for the mind what Krishna says, manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. He says manmana means engage your mind in me, he says. Engaging our mind in Krishna means not the person Krishna alone. Things connected to Krishna, paraphernalia of Krishna also. Like for example, making friendship with Krishna's devotees, taking darshan of the Krishna Shri Vigraha, and rendering service in the backup, and going out and distributing books, anything directly related to Krishna. Those engagements are also manmana. We are engaging our mind in them. And also mind has 3 functions: thinking, feeling, willing. When you begin the chanting in the morning, think about the glories of the holy name. If you don't remember so many glories, then go through chanting books. They give you a lot of shlokas. You can write down some shlokas, and any of you quickly tell me one shloka what you know about the glory of the holy name. Anybody? You say shlokas Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Kevalam. Correct? No? Any other? Nama Sankirtanam is Sarva Papa Pranachanam, last shloka. Kevala Ashtakamasa. Madhuram Madhurebhyopi Mangalebhyopi Mangalam Pavanam Pavanebhyopi Harer Namaiva Kevalam. It's a very beautiful song, isn't it? So, like this kind of songs, and also shlokas from Bhagavatam. If you know the shlokas, it's wonderful. If you know them with meaning, it's even more wonderful. And if you know the context in which it was spoken, it is so wonderful. Actually, in Japa talks also I have spoken many places, and also in many chanting books you will get. Actually, at one time when I wanted to learn these things, I gathered some 5-6 books on chanting, and I read them. So knowing the glories of the holy name is very, very valuable, because just before chanting, you think of some of the glories of the holy name. You can think. Yeah? He's saying, Shipram bhavati dharmatma shashvat shantim negacchati kaunte pradjani hiname bhakta pranashyati. This kind of shlokas you can remember. Also, when you think about how Krishna is merciful nature, Narayana, one word he uttered, who is that fellow? And immediately the Lord gave a benefit of doubt and sent his devotees, Vishnudutas, to help out that fellow. Similarly, Gajendra called Narayana, Akhila Guru Bhagavan Namaste. Draupadi called. Immediately Lord sends. So I am chanting the holy name. So think of the glories of the holy name with your thinking ability, and then feeling. What should we feel? The second sloka of Shikshashtakam. What is it? Durdaivam idrisham ihajani na anuraga. That is the kind of feeling we have to cultivate. My dear Lord, your name has descended from Goloka, but I am so lazy, so lethargic, and I am so stupid in Maya. I am unable to appreciate the advantage of this holy name. And your holy name is capable of cleansing my mind completely, but I am not uttering it properly with a proper attitude. Still you are accepting to dance in my tongue. I am so grateful to you. So this type of gratitude should arise, feelings of gratitude, an attitude of gratitude. And willingness, how we should apply? Properly chanting. We should not move 2-3 beats at a time. Make sure only one beat you move. So one is the willingness means action aspect. So move one beat at a time and chant properly. And also lips should be moving and uttering the mantra. Eyes should be semi-closed. If you fully close it, we go to sleep. If you fully open, we get distracted. Isn't it? So therefore we keep it semi-closed. And actually there are 2 senses which are super distractors amongst the 5. Eyes and ears. So even in Vrindavan, when Madhumangal want to, snatch the laddus from his friend's plate, what he will do? He will show the window. Hey friends, look at that monkey upside down on the tree. And all the gopas will say, where is it? They will all see the monkey upside down. Ha ha ha, they will be laughing. Here, laddus are gone here. So what he did, he shouted loudly. They heard the sound and the sight. Same thing advertisers do also, Washing powder, Nirma. And immediately you look in the direction, what is that? And they put some little girl dancing, and then they advertise the soap powder. So they catch your ear, and then they catch your eyes. So therefore these 2 senses we have to safeguard in chanting. Other senses, nose doesn't create so much trouble. Tongue doesn't create much trouble. Tongue will get trouble only during eating prasadam. Tongue will demand more tasty items during prasad. But morning chanting time only 2 only. Eyes and ears. So sit in a place where distraction for the eyes is minimal. Don't sit in the entrance near the door in the morning, because people are coming, going. It's a super distraction. Sit in such a place where you don't get distracted. Very, very nice. Some people go very close to Prabhupada and sit by his side. So nobody will want to disturb them also. You can see some people in Juhu, I see one devotee would sit just below Prabhupada until Hare Krishna chanting. And only the cleaning person has to tell him, please kindly get up now. Otherwise nobody can disturb them. So keep your eyes in a very undistracted zone. And ears also, if there are other sounds distracting us, then sometimes there are sharp chanters, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Then you can't hear your chanting. And it is like a sharp arrow that pierces your ears. And some boys can come and sit exactly by your side. And as if he is designed to, pierce my ear. So I will tell the boy, Prabhu, either you go to some other place or I will push off. So don't hear others chanting. Who's chanting we have to hear? Our own chanting. Some people put Prabhupada very loud. See, Prabhupada chanting is good to hear in the beginning, but you can't hear only that. You have to hear our chanting. So, therefore, willingness means what? Chant audibly. And japa actually means chanting softly. That is the meaning of japa. Kirtan means chanting loudly. Japa means chanting softly. but not silently. We have to chant softly. Chant audibly, pronounce clearly, hear attentively. We'll repeat the statements. Chant audibly, pronounce clearly, and then hear attentively. So this is willingness aspect. So I told you 3 aspects: thinking, feeling, willing. Engage these 3. Now, actually, in the beginning of chanting, you can remember some shlokas and recite, that is thinking. And the feeling, there are many songs expressing feeling. You know this song, no? Hari Hari Vifale Janam Gavaino. He says, no? Manusya Janama Paya Radha Krishna Navajiya Dhaniya Shuniya Vishaka No Dhaniya Shuniya Vishaka No Goloker Premadana Hari Nama Sankirtana Hare Nama Sankirtana Ratena Janmilo Kene Tai
Ratena Janmilo Kene Tai
Rajendra Nandana Jai Shachi Sutta Hoilo Se
Rajendra Nandana Jai Shachi Sutta Hoilo Se
Balarama Hoilo Nita
Balarama Hoilo Nita
Hina Hina Yata Tilo Hari Name Udarilo
Hina Hina Yata Chilo Hari Name Udarilo
Saki Jagai Madai
Tar Sakshi Jagai Madai
Aha Prabhu Nanda Sutta Vrishabhanu Sutta Yuta
Aha Prabhu Nanda Sutta Vrishabhanu Sutta Yuta
Karuna Karo Yai Baro
Karuna Karo Yai Baro
Maro Tamara Se Koi Na Teli Ho Rangapo
Narottama Das Koi Na Teli Ho Rangapai
Toma Vina Ke Ache Amara
Toma Bina Ke Ache Amara
Toma Vina Ke Ache Amara
Toma Bina Ke Ache Amara
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare
Nittai Gauranga Jaya Nittai Gauranga
Nitai Gauranga Jaya Nitai Gauranga
Nittai Gauranga Jaya Nittai Gauranga
Nitai Gauranga Jaya Nitai Gauranga
Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol
Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
So, this is another song for feeling, isn't it? He is expressing his feelings. Who? Narottam Das Thakur. So, in this way, there are many songs where the thinking, we have to think the glories of the holy name. You all said that song, Madhura Madhura Baby. That is about thinking the glories of the name. And feelings are explained in some other songs. So, Vaishnava songs are the best because they exactly align with Shastra. And we can grasp the mood of the Acharyas and appreciate With feelings we can. So these feelings, if you cultivate a little bit of the feeling before chanting, and also avoid the distraction, then chanting will be much easier. Chanting will go much, much more smoothly. Otherwise, we chant mechanically, it's very dry experience and boredom. It will be very painful, and we will be just looking at the clock, and you'll be seeing, Mala is not going so fast, we'll be wondering. But when absorption is there, then 5 A's, attraction, attention, absorption, attachment, and affection. 5 things. Now I'll tell you which A resides where. We will talk now. Attraction is in the senses and in the mind. Attraction to anything. Senses in the mind. Like gulab jamun, you see, there is attraction, correct? No? When I see the gulab jamun, that's attraction. Mind also, I like gulab jamun. Mind also jumping. So attraction is there. And attention is in the intelligence. Intelligence plans, let me find out whether extra gulab jamuns are available. After prasadam is over, who is in charge, Prabhu? Oh, that devotee, okay. I will go and give him little words of praise and get 4 more gulab jamun if possible. So who is planning that? Intelligence pays attention. Mind, senses and mind have attraction. Intelligence has attention. And as you proceed in this direction, then there will be absorption in both mind and intelligence. There will be absorption. You will see. That means mind and intelligence become very good friends in order to accomplish the goal. There will be absorption. And absorption, actually, as absorption increases, you will see you become oblivious to the surroundings when there is absorption. For example, many of you might have seen if somebody has open eyes also, and sometimes they are thinking of something. Correct, no? So even if somebody is passing through, they will not be able to see. There is an example given in 11th canto of Bhagavatam. One arrow maker was sharpening the arrow. At that time, a very big king's procession went. Thousands of people went. Somebody came and asked him, hey, did you see the procession? The king was going. He said, which king and what procession? I don't know anything. Because the noise of the procession, the thousands of people passing with drums and all those things, nothing of that was registered in his head because he was thinking of the sharpening the arrow. Correct, no? So the thinking is in the mind, therefore the absorption is also in the mind and intelligence. Absorption. And then the attachment is where? It is in the chitta, subconscious mind, which we call as a heart. Actually, there is a difference between mind and heart. Krishna says, mat chitta, mat gata prana, bodhayanta. He says, my devotees have given their heart to me, he says. But when Krishna is asking us for our hearts, what he says? Man mana, kam se kam man se socho mere bare mein. He doesn't say, hey, give your heart. He doesn't say. What he says? Man mana. Think of me. At least your mind. If you keep thinking of Krishna, eventually he will give your heart. Of course, nobody gives heart. They only lose their heart. Therefore, in the t-shirt, what they put? I lost my heart in Vrindavan. Even in boy-girl relationship also, people lose the heart. Nobody gives the heart. Here is my heart, take it. Nobody gives. They suddenly, hey, where is the heart? Heart it's gone already. Somebody has taken away. So similarly, he says, the pure devotees have lost their heart to Krishna. Yeah. So we will also, if we keep on thinking of Krishna more and more, one day will come when we will lose our heart to Krishna. The time will come. And that's why the attachment is there. So in the 7th chapter, Krishna says, first verse, Maya saktamana partha yogam yunjan madashrayah asamshayam samagram mam yata jnasati tachunu. So the 7th chapter, he says, Arjuna, in this chapter I'll teach you how my devotees can develop attachment for me, he says. Recently, scientist Bhatkar came to our temple. He said, the 7th chapter is the best chapter in Bhagavad Gita. He said, there are a lot of scientific researches can be done. Because Krishna reveals many, many secrets in the 7th chapter about the nature of functioning of the material world, how he is actually existing, he is the essence of everything, he explains. Raso Hamsa Kaunteya, Prabhasmi Shashisuryo, Pranava Sarva Vedeshu, Sabdake Parusham, Balam Balavatam, all those things, everything. 7th chapter is a very, very special chapter. So, in this way, Krishna is also teaching us how to develop attachment for him in our hearts. So, now I was telling you about the mind. When you go above the mind, thinking, feeling, willing, then the intelligence is there. Intelligence has a very special ability for discrimination. Viveka buddhi, you say, no? In buddhi there are 2 types of buddhis, kubuddhi and subuddhi. Kubuddhi is wicked intelligence, very dangerous. Kaikeyi Kaikeyi was actually Subuddhi before. Who made her Kubuddhi? Huh? Mantra, yeah. Similarly, Ajamila was Subuddhi before, guided by his father, teacher, everybody. Nice Subuddhi boy. But he went to the forest, and then he saw the dirty sight. The Subuddhi became spoiled into Kubuddhi. Actually, he had weakness of heart, but if you don't take away yourself from tempting environments, the weak heart will become wicked heart. So then one becomes a wicked person. Ajamila became very wicked. He drove away the parents, drove away the wife and everything. So we should never go from weakness to wickedness. We should go from weakness to victory. So to go from weakness to victory, then we have to cultivate Viveka Buddhi. By Viveka Buddhi, the weakness is in the mind. And then the victory is achieved by superior intelligence. If we strengthen our intelligence, then we will achieve victory. And if the intelligence becomes succumbing to the mind, then we become wicked. It becomes wicked intelligence. Ye mana durmati samsara bitore podiya chinu ami. He says, Ye mana durmati. He says, durmati is what? Kubuddhi. Yeah. So, mind and intelligence are connected. See, when mind goes by pleasures, it is called man. There are three things. Man, buddhi, ahankar put together are called antakaran. When it makes decisions, you call it buddhi. When it goes by sankalpa, vikalpa, likes and dislikes, it's called man. Correct, no? And when it goes for identification, who am I, that we call ahankar. But all three put together are called, in Patanjali Yoga Sutra, it's called antakaran, it is called. So, yemana durmati means it's kubuddhi actually. My intelligence has become screwed up by bad association and all. Actually, here is the point. Our buddhi gets spoiled by bad association. Mantra's association was very bad for whom? Okay, yeah. Similarly for Ajamila, there is a bad association. But here is an interesting point. Narada also got a bad association of Nalakuru Manigiri, nude fellows in Mandakini Ganga, trying to do some nonsense with Apsaras, in the waters of holy waters in Mandakini Ganga. Narada is seeing a dirty sight also. Ajamila is seeing dirty sight in the forest. In this, Ajamila is falling down and Narada is elevating them. Correct now? How is it? Narada didn't get degraded, whereas Ajamila got degraded. The answer is very simple. In the path of bhakti, if one has our sadhana is like in the early stage, it's like milk. Milk can be diluted with water. Similarly, early stage sadhaka up to the point of nishtha, his shraddha can be diluted. Like he has shraddha, but if he sees some dirty side, if he does this, that, and his shraddha can become diluted. Whereas beyond nishtha stage, his shraddha is like a makan. Once you turn the milk into dahi, into makan, you put it in water, anything will happen? That is Narada's, buddhi is like makan. He's seeing a dirty side, he's immediately thinking, how can I deliver these fellows? He's not thinking, oh, he's nude and all, I'm also getting attracted. These guys are enjoying, how can I also enjoy? He didn't think like that. That enjoying buddhi went away. Bhoga vritti went away. Now his seva vritti has become so stable and strong in nishtha stage. So we all are not in that stage, then we have to be very careful. We should not allow any kubuddhi fellow to ruin our good intelligence. Ravana had all bad counselors. Kamsa had all bad counselors. Kamsa also. Kamsa, Ravana. These guys actually got degraded by bad association. Their buddhi was misdirected. So don't allow your buddhi to be misdirected. Get Viveka Buddhi from the right source properly. So when we have Subuddhi, then Viveka Buddhi. Viveka Buddhi means sahi kya hai, galat kya hai, hitkarak kya hai, hanikara kya hai, acha kya hai, bura kya hai, kya mujhe chunna chahiye, what I should choose. Very clearly you can see. So in this way we have to strengthen everyday intelligence by actually buddhi is strengthened in various ways. One of the ways it is strengthened is by shastric study, studying the books not just superficial study, contemplative study. Contemplative study means when we are studying, we should make some notes, bullet points, and then we should recollect what we studied, called mananam, shravanam, and then mananam. And then you should see how is it relevant to my life. What they said in the Shastra here. How is it relevant to other people's lives? And also we should speak to others what we have studied. Like I studied certain things I am sharing with you now. By sharing it, it becomes my property. I'll remember it more and more. And you share it with many people what you are reading. Have a habit of sharing what you read in Prabhupada books with other people. And also contemplation increases when you analyze, when you see comparison. What is the difference between Dhruva's meditation and Hiranyakashipu's meditation? What are the similarities? What are the differences between Dhruva and Hiranyakashipu? Just now I compared a few minutes ago between Narada and Ajamila. So by such comparisons you can know. Like for example, Daksha Prajapati is entering the assembly, Shiva is not getting up and he is offending Shiva. When Brihaspati is coming into assembly, Indra is not getting up, Indra is offending Brihaspati. Both situations seem similar, isn't it? In both cases, one fellow is coming in, one fellow is not getting up. Both are same, isn't it? But they are not the same situation. How are they different? Like this, one has to scrutinizingly study. Sit with a group of 5-6 friends, you study the Bhagavatam and then discuss. Therefore, reading Prabhupada's book should be done in a very enthusiastic and interesting way. So in this way, our intelligence will become very strong, strengthened. So one of the ways to, also, he says, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, for strengthening the mind, he also says the Yama Niyama prescribed in Patanjali, Ahimsa, Satya, Asteya, Brahmacharya, Aparigraha, Yamaha, Shaucha, Santosha, Swadhyaya, Ishvara, Pranidhani, Japa, Niyamaha. So there are 10 items given totally. I'll quickly tell you one line about each. Ahimsa, don't injure other devotees. Don't hurt other people around you in the world unnecessarily. Ahimsa. Satyam, always speak the truth. Asteya, don't steal the credit that is meant for others. If you steal others' credit, your mind will not be peaceful. He says, Ahimsa, Satya, Asteya, Brahmacharya means keep purity. A boy should be a pakka brahmachari and a girl should be pakka chaste to her, in her family. Then only they can have a peaceful mind. And aparigraha, don't accumulate too many things because maintenance will take a lot of your time. These 5, Yamaha. And Niyamaha, what are they? Shaucha, take bath 2 times a day, 3 times a day. Keep your body clean, mind also clean. Shaucha, Santosha means learn to be satisfied. Don't make unhealthy comparisons with other people around you. See what you have rather than see what others have. Shaucha, Santosha, Swadhyaya means have a regular daily study. Just like you brush your teeth, you take your bath to cleanse the impurities. Similarly, study and strengthen your intelligence by Swadhyaya. And Japa, we also do Japam every day, Hare Krishna mantra. And Ishvara Pranidhani. All these things should lead you to feeling a dependence and dependence on the Supreme Lord. One should feel a sense of dependence on the Lord. Because Lord is providing me so many things in this world. These 10 things if we do, mind will become strong. He says that. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Yama, Niyama if you follow these items. Also you can refer to 17th chapter, 14, 15, 16 verses, Bhagavad Gita. There is Mana Prasada Samyatvam, Maunam Atma Vinigraha, Bhava Samshuddhirityeta, Tapa Manasam Uchyate. There he says 5 S's, we can remember that. Mana Prasada means satisfaction. Don't be greedy, learn to be satisfied. Samyatva means simplicity, not duplicity. And Maunam means silence. Don't talk unnecessarily. If you can talk purely, it's good. Otherwise, don't unnecessarily waste your talking energy. So Mana Prasada, satisfaction. Simplicity, and third is silence, Maunam. Atma Vinigraha means self-control. That is there in the first verse of Nectar of Instruction, self-control. Self-control, Atma Vinigraha, and Bhava Samshuddhi means sanctification of our existence in every respect. Your eating habits, your sleeping habits, bathing habits, all, especially freedom from illegal sex life. That is Bhava Samshuddhi. Sanctification. So these 5 S's, all these things will make our mind very calm, cool, collected and make it conducive for chanting Hare Krishna very nicely. So this is, I told you about the mind. Then similarly for Buddhi, I told you Viveka Buddhi should be awakened, Kubuddhi should be given up. Actually Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Kubuddhi Chadiya Sanatan, like that Mahaprabhu says in one verse. Hey Sanatan, you are thinking of committing suicide by falling under the Rath cart, because you have all the boils in your body and I am coming to embrace you. So he said, give up the Kubuddhi, he told them. If by falling under the chariot of Jagannath one can be liberated, I can fall 1,000 times, Mahaprabhu said. If one can attain Krishna by this. This is not the method. Give up the Kubuddhi. Kubuddhi means that which gives you wrong discretion, not the right discretion. Which gives you, like compass is not proper, broken compass or something. So actually we have internal discretion. The jivas all have an internal discretion which always guides them towards Krishna, surrender to Krishna. If somebody speaks something wrongly, immediately, intuitively you will understand something is good. Prabhuji is not speaking well, you will know it. Because you will see there's an internal compass we all have, the super soul. It will always be true north. So therefore, kubuddhi means that gets spoiled. Sometimes you've seen this compass get spoiled. Instead of showing north, it is showing you east or something. The needle is showing something else. So, therefore, the intelligence should be strengthened. You all know the example of the chariot of the body. In that, who is the driver? Intelligence. And which is the ropes? Mind. The horses? Senses, yeah. And the passenger? Soul, yeah. Therefore, the driver is intelligence. So, we have to strengthen the driver for him to be able to control the horses. Isn't it? So, senses like that. So, I told you, husband is intelligence and wife is mind. Senses are? So, we have to strengthen the intelligence. Have the subuddhi. So, now the ego, there is a true ego. Actually, ego is not bad. What is bad is, false ego is bad. Mamata, false mamata. Thinking that I am a Brahmana, I am fair, I am very intelligent, without me things cannot move on. I am proprietor of this, I am controller of that, all these things. This is actually false ego. And true ego means, Jiva Rasarupa Hoy, I am servant of Krishna. And also I am Krishna's property and Krishna is mine. That is correct actually, that is true ego. That is wanted. So, and false ego also makes us think I belong to this state or this country. And so, we have to rise above the false identification. And how do we give up this? For each of it I will tell you now. For the senses I told you, Rishikena, Rishikesha Sevana. And for the mind, Manmana. Think of Krishna or Krishna related things. And how the buddhi is purified? So intelligence is purified by Shastric study especially. More powerful than just only studying the Shastra is also to hear from realized souls, especially very advanced souls who are deeply realized. So when we hear from them, many of the Shastric things become more clear. When you hear the speech, that's what Prabhupada's lectures, if you hear, then Prabhupada's books will become very easy to understand after hearing Prabhupada's lectures. So actually when you study the books, you get knowledge. When you hear the lectures of great souls, you get wisdom. When you apply the knowledge and wisdom you received from books and great souls, then you get realization. And if you combine all these three, knowledge, wisdom and realization, that's called maturity. And maturity is what is required for tackling Maya, coming in various forms. Maya doesn't come in the same way every time. It's not stereotyped way, she comes in various ways. And if you have the maturity, we will know the principle of how to protect ourselves. So, then Chitta, I was telling you about the heart. Heart is where Raga and Dvesha reside. Attachments and aversions. That's the deepest thing. In the heart, when our attachments, just like if you have a dahi ka pot, if you throw away the dahi, little dahi is sticking at the bottom. You fill up the pot with full of milk, what happens? All the milk will become dahi. Similarly, if you have deep-rooted attachments for certain impure things, no matter how much pure things you put inside, again and again the impure things keep coming. You really get shocked. So the deep-rooted material attachments can be uprooted. In Bhagavatam it is said, Tapatraya Unmulanam, it says. Virudaham, Jahatam, Mamatam, Jahau. What is that verse? Atmajaya, Sutagara, Pashudra Binabandushu, Rajyecha Avikalecha Nityam, Virudham, Mamatam, Jahau. Like that it says. 8 things Parikshit Maharaj gave up. Attachment to his body and wife, children, and the property, and the khajana, and the kingdom, and the people, and all that. So, and all these things can be given up by developing only one thing, great attraction for a saintly person and his teachings, and faithful adherence to his instruction. If you do that, all attachments can be cut off very easily. For example, say you're eating prasadam. After prasad, you kept talking to somebody, your hands have dried up, plate has dried up. Now you go to wash the plate. When you do like this, plate is so strongly sticking, this doesn't come out only, you've seen that? But if you just flood it with water, overflood it with water and just keep it there, after half an hour you come back. Then you will see, when you do like this, it smoothly comes out, correct, no? What happened there? You actually soaked it in water. Correct, no? Similarly, if you soak your heart with saintly association, it is said actually, like Prabhupada's followers in America, they became easily powerful in spiritual life because of affection for Prabhupada and faithful adherence to his teachings. That's how they gained that inner strength, and the material attachments could be cut off. They could be, the knot of material attachment could be bhidyate hridaya granthi chidyante sarva samshayaha, it is said. The hard knot of material attachment is cut, which is actually formed due to attachment to opposite sex. What is that verse? Pumsaha striya mituni bhavametam tayor mito hridaya granthi mahuhu, he says. Granthi means hard knot of attachments. Ato griha kshetra sutapta vittair janasya moho yamaham mameti. We all began with one attachment only in the world. Anybody knows what is that? Only one only. Oh, no? When you are newly born, there was only one attachment for you. Mother. You don't know anybody else. And then you see one man is coming, going. You ask the mother, who is this fellow? And who is that fellow? Then mother introduces you to the father. Isn't it? And then later on they tell you, this is your sister, this is your brother. Correct, no? And then you only have 4 or 5 attachments now. After 20 years, then somebody is married. Then one new attachment comes. Till then he doesn't even know who that lady is. But after marriage, within 3-4 years, they become inseparable. One remembers her very deeply in the heart. She remembers him. Some people keep a purse with all the photos. Isn't it? So all the family members. Then he gets 3-4 children. And he develops attachment. Now this fellow, that is, this fellow married, but his father also develops attachment to grandson also. This way also. Not only to my son, my daughter, but grandson, granddaughter, this thing, and then their husband, wife also. So he has too many attachments now. Correct, no? If any small thing happens to anybody, he is disturbed. Correct, no? So therefore the attachments multiply in this world as we stay in this world longer and longer over a period of time. And attachment to people, attachment to pleasures, attachment to penny making, money making, all these things. Attachment to post and positions, attachment to our property and possessions. These are called 5 P's, we call it. Attachment to these things. They reside in the chitta, in our heart. Heart means subconscious mind. So, how to blow off these metal attachments? For that, one has to, very, very easy to cut off these attachments, provided you develop a very strong spiritual attachment, either to the deities, to advanced devotees, and to some aspect of Krishna consciousness, develop a strong attachment. By positive attachments, negative attachments can be cut off very easily. Very easily it can be cut off. Sayeva sadhushu kruto mokshadvam pavrata. Generally due to metal attachments, the jiva drowns in this world. Just like if you put iron ring in water, it floats or drowns. If you put a stick in water, it floats or drowns. Floats. But if you put iron ring over the stick like this and you throw it, it floats or drowns. Yes. So this sadhu is floating and the baddha jivas are drowning. So baddha jivas should associate with saintly people. Then they will also float in bliss. That's what he's saying in the Bhagavatam. So those who are like Gauragopant Maharaj's disciples, they would ask questions to him and Maharaj would blow off the illusion very strongly. And many of them became very strong, powerful devotees by that association. The association of a true saintly person cuts off the metal attachments. So in this way, the chitta can be cleansed also. And also, when in the chitta resides attachment and affection also. Affection. You will have tears actually of gratitude for Prabhupada. So this is another thing. Read Prabhupada Lilamrita. You will develop firm attachment to Acharya. Complete Prabhupada Lilamrita you study. Many of the sections of Lilamrita you will have tears in your eyes. When you read how much Prabhupada struggled. That means, affection for Prabhupada has come in your heart. Attachment and affection. And that will blow off all Maya. You will see that. Why you find in America, like I have one friend in America, he was telling morning 8 o'clock he goes for book distribution and comes back at 7 o'clock at night. Every single day. I asked, what do you eat in the day? These are devotees from Kansas State. Disciples of Visualnath Danavir Maharaj. I give them a class monthly once, I'm going to give twice now. So I was talking to them. He says, morning every day 8 o'clock they go, come at 7 o'clock. They are lovers of Prabhupada. So once we strongly love the Acharya, that affection will actually evaporate all the other attachments. So in this way I told you right from beginning, from the senses to mind, to intelligence, to ego and chitta and the heart. So all these things, we have to do this homework. And if we work on these things and keep purifying them, then the chanting will become gradually better and better. So I could give only some things today. I'll speak one more lecture on the same theme. So I gave the heading. What is the heading I gave? Art of keeping aloof from distractions. So this can be part 1. Part 2 I will speak after some time whenever I am able to. Tomorrow evening we can keep? It is there? Acha. What time we kept today? 6:30. What time? 7 we started. So if I get 7 to 8:30 tomorrow, I should take some questions also, I think, tomorrow. Some questions are there now? Quickly, another maybe 10 minutes. Quickly
There
read
are some questions in chant. Prabhuji, when I am chanting, my mind gets disturbed by
Actually,
seeing
today's
others
subject,
chanting.
what I spoke, is more difficult than what I am going to speak tomorrow. Tomorrow's application, it will be very easy. Now, actually, if you understand what I spoke today, tomorrow when we go to the application part, there are some practical things we should do in order for us to walk in the surface of the globe, in a detached spirit, by which we can focus on chanting very nicely. So I will speak about that tomorrow more. And that will be all little stories and examples. It will be very easy than today. So maybe tomorrow we'll keep the same time, 7 to 8:30. And if any devotees are unable to join, then we will put the link with recording and you will give it to Amsha Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji.
We will keep it with Amsha Prabhu. In case somebody is unable to join, they can take the link. Okay. Same time I will do 7 to 8:30 tomorrow.
Questions will take tomorrow,
little
Prabhu.
questions I can take quickly. 10 minutes.
I tend to compare my chanting and envy troubles and chanting get disturbed. Means by seeing others chanting, I get disturbed. Prabhuji, can you tell how can I overcome this?
You see, 4 things you follow. Delight, all of you repeat. Delight in the cheerful. Delight in the virtuous.
Virtuous.
Be friendly with the cheerful.
Be friendly with cheerful.
Be compassionate to the innocent.
Be compassionate to innocent.
Keep away from the envious.
Keep away from the envious.
So 4 things you follow, your mind will be always positive. What is the first thing I said? Delight in the virtuous. If somebody is chanting well, somebody is doing devotion service well, he is very jolly, then delight in the virtuous. Always appreciate them. Don't be envious of them. And secondly, make friendship with the cheerful. Be friendly with the cheerful people. Because cheerful people like Vaisheshika Prabhu is a cheerful person. Make friendship with him, then you will also be cheerful. Ami bada dukhi, tumi bada sukhi. You say, no? So you are bada sukhi, so associate with sukhi, then you will also be sukhi. Make friendship with the cheerful. Third one I said, be compassionate to the innocent. Those who are innocent, please be helpful to them, guide them. Don't ridicule them. And fourthly, keep away from the envious. Like Kaikeyi should keep away from mantra type of people, correct, no? So, yes, next.
First students.
Students, first priority, yeah?
That is there. Some questions, apart from those who are written questions, anybody directly want to ask?
Okay.
Okay. Yes,
Yeah.
Sachin.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So sometimes we may not remember those songs to get feel. So can we put those songs in front of us and we can chant?
Again. And also need the meanings. Actually, sometimes we like the tune of the song or the shloka in the beginning. Gradually you appreciate the meaning of the song. Then you appreciate the mood of the person who wrote the song. Then you appreciate the person only. And gradually we enter into the spirit of the song. Then we feel those feelings in our heart. This is how step by step I do. Same with shlokas also. Initially, you tell Prahlad Maharaj shloka, Prayena deva munayasva vimukti kaman maunam charanti vijanena parartha nishtha naitan vihaya kripanan vimumukshayeko dhanyam tvadasya sharanam brahmato nupashye. Prahlad is saying, my dear Lord, I don't want to alone go back to Godhead and enjoy myself. I'm very much worried about the suffering souls here. Let me preach to them and send them to your abode, and then I will come. So when I first read this shloka, I was so thrilled, So now initially the shloka tune thrilled me, then the meaning thrilled me, then Prahlad thrilled me. What a kind of personality he has, what kind of heart he has. Then afterwards, if you keep thinking about the shloka more, then it will enter your heart. Then you will also feel some desire to go and help in preaching. We cannot have compassion, but at least we can be assisting a great compassionate acharya like Prabhupada, correct? No? Same with songs also. Initially you like the tune of the song. Many people may dance when you sing Hari Haraye Nama Krishna Yadavaya. People like, you ask them the meaning, they may not know. They just like the tune, correct? There are many. But then they may want to know what is the meaning of the song. First you like the tune, then you know the meaning, and then you know who sang it. Then somebody explains you deeper meaning, then you feel it also. This is how we gradually, once the feeling starts coming, that means heart has started softening, melting. Then the chanting would be very wonderful. Chanting quality will improve a lot in that. Yes?
When I try to attentively chant, I take little more time, but it gives me joy. When I hear holy name, but not able to chant 16 rounds. So which is important project? Chanting 16 rounds, no matter whatever is the quality, or chanting less round?
There are devotees who take more than 2 hours also to chant. 2 hours 15 minutes also, some people 2 hours 20 minutes. Actually, if he is able to be attentive and get relish, that method should be, one should stick to that. Very good it is. He is able to observe the difference very clearly between attentive and inattentive. So attentiveness is the most important thing. Even if he cannot complete 16 rounds during the morning time, if he wants to chant a little bit in the early morning or daytime, if he is nicely, attentively chanting, it is good. Yeah. And some devotees say that, 16 is difficult for me. Some devotees who took during Utkarsh camp, they are able to chant only 12. Okay, ultimately we should be getting that conviction from within. Yes, I want to chant 16 rounds. Then only we will be able to do. Yeah. Yes.
Sometimes when I have strong morning program, I lose the desire to go to work. How to overcome this?
You see, Arjuna also did not like to go to work. He also told Krishna, I won't fight. He put his bow down. But Krishna told him, Ma manasmara. Then he said, Karishye vachanam mama artava. I said, I will follow your response. So you follow the same way. Arjuna also didn't want to do his work like you. And then when Krishna taught him Bhagavad Gita, he said, I will do the work for the pleasure of Krishna. So you do the same thing. Actually, there are 4 things all the working devotees should know. Then you will be inspired to do your work. If somebody asks Hanuman, who are you? Hanuman will say, I am Ramdas. What do you do? You will say, I do Rama's work. How do you do? I do it responsibly with commitment and dedication and sincerity, putting my heart, I do my work. And what do you do with the results? I offer it all back to Ram. Because Ram gave me the brain, Ram gave me the strength, Ram gave me the intelligence. That Rama gave me all the ingredients, everything. Nothing is created by me. Everything is given by him. Like a Mali is taking seeds from the Jamindar and he is sowing and then making flowers and giving back to Jamindar. The same manner I am giving, if Hanuman says. Same manner we all have to do. Who are you? You are Krishnadas. What do you do? Your job or studies, you should see it as Krishna given work. Like that you should see. Krishna has allotted me this prescribed duty for me. I am a student, I should study. If you are working in a company, you should think, this job actually I am doing, according to Varnashram Dharma, you have to do some job. Shariram kevalam karma kurvana apnoti kilbisham. Krishna says in Gita, without work, how will you maintain your body and soul together? And if you have parents and other people to support, how will you support? You have to have some method of earning. If somebody says, I will only chant and dance, even as a brahmachari, you have to work hard. We get up in the morning, 3 o'clock, 3:15, we get up at night, we sleep at 9:30. So all day brahmachari has to work hard also. Prabhupada said ISKCON is not a free hotel. That means even in ISKCON, devotees are working very hard. We are not saying morning we chanted, we felt a lot of bliss, we want to sleep during the day. We don't say that. Okay, if you felt the bliss, you should do more service. Isn't it? Yeah.
If I sit in a place where eyes and ears don't have any distraction, I feel sleepy. How to overcome this?
So I want distraction, huh? Actually, whenever we feel sleepy, sleep is coming once, you can try to be alert and you can wake up. But if it is coming second time, third time, repeatedly and rounds are not happening, one of the ways to know we are sleeping is, in half an hour you have chanted only 3 rounds, sometimes. Sometimes 2 rounds only in half an hour. That means we have slept part of the time. Then we can get up. See, sleeping is in Tamaguna and walking is in Rajoguna. sitting and keeping awake and chanting is Sattva-guna. So, this one Sajjan Maharaj says that if you are feeling very drowsy because of stomach is not cleared, at night it got late for you, then we can get up and walk in a little place where don't walk too long, little short distance you walk, brisk walk, in such a way that you don't have to control the traffic, in a small place. You can walk to and fro, you can walk like this, maybe 2-3 meters distance, you can walk within that, and you can chant there. And then once you become brisk, again you can sit and try to chant without sleeping. Actually, if somebody is touching our leg and saying you are feeling sleepy, then you can get up. And if you are not feeling sleepy, you can sit down and chant. So ideal is which one? Sitting and chanting without sleeping or without mind wandering. Sleeping is Tamaguna, mind wandering is Rajoguna. If you can avoid these two and you can chant and try to pay attention. So we will stop with this for today. And tomorrow again, what time? 7? Yeah, 7 o'clock we will meet again. I will talk the second part of the same topic. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki, Harinam Prabhu ki, Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki. Thank you very much.